I did not teach my children to hate their father. I taught them to stop making excuses for him. My husband attended school meetings, paid every bill, and remembered every appointment. But children need more than a man who treats fatherhood like a list of completed tasks. So when I asked them to give him a worst father trophy at his birthday, I saw it as a funny wake-up call. Marcus checked the time on his watch, typed one line into his phone, and calmly accepted the gift. By the end of his party, even the children would understand why I had made them do it. My name is Simone Walker. I was 38, and I produced family lifestyle videos for brands that wanted homes to look warm and happy. To be fair, Marcus was never careless with money, school forms, or appointments. He simply treated fatherhood like a list, while I believed children remembered how a parent made them feel. That was why I later planned the trophy. It was not cruelty in my mind. It was a wake-up call. Marcus checked the time on his watch, typed one line into his phone, and stayed calm whenever I confronted him. I read that as distance. By his birthday, I intended to make that distance impossible to hide. Marcus and I had been together for 12 years and married for 9. Our family had once worked because we were different in useful ways. Every Friday, he made pizza dough while Lily and Evan chose the toppings. He built reading corners in both bedrooms and read until the children fell asleep. Marcus never photographed those moments. He simply cleaned the flour from the counter and moved to the next task. That was his way. It was also what began to hurt me. When Lily had her first school play, the school sent an email saying the time might change. Marcus had accepted an emergency work assignment and asked me to confirm the final schedule. I saw the corrected email and forgot to forward it. Marcus arrived after the performance ended. Lily stood in the hallway wearing silver paper wings, trying not to cry. Marcus asked why nobody had told him the time had moved. I heard an excuse instead of a question. I told Lily that her father had chosen work again. Marcus looked at me, checked his watch, and wrote something in his phone. Then he crouched beside Lily and asked her to show him the dance at home. Lily refused. He did not push. That silence made my version feel true. After that, the children began measuring him through visible moments. I helped them. When Marcus left before breakfast to take Evan's forgotten medicine to school, I filmed the empty chair and told my followers that some fathers missed the small things. When he returned late from work, I said the children had stopped waiting. Each sentence was true from one angle. My job had taught me that angles mattered. The school picnic gave me another chance. Marcus arrived 20 minutes late, carrying Evan's medication and a bag of drinks. I had already told the children that their father could not arrive on time even for one family afternoon. Evan laughed and called him the late dad. I laughed too. Lily watched Marcus place the medicine in her brother's backpack, but she said nothing. Marcus asked why I had turned the situation into a joke before asking where he had been. I told him a loving father should not need an investigation before his children were allowed to feel disappointed. He said disappointment based on missing information was not honesty. I answered that facts were his favorite shield whenever feelings became uncomfortable. Marcus checked the time again. One glance. One line in his phone. Then he carried the picnic chairs toward the field. That evening, he stood beside the magnetic family calendar on our refrigerator. His initials appeared beside doctor visits, soccer practice, school meetings, and grocery runs. He asked what had changed between us. His voice was soft, which made the question easy to dismiss. I said the children were old enough to notice which parent created memories and which parent only managed the schedule. Marcus asked whether I understood that they were repeating adult accusations they could not explain. I told him I was giving them permission to speak. He said I was giving them my words. I removed one of his initials from the picnic square and placed mine there instead. Marcus watched me do it. He did not stop me. That confirmed everything. A father who cared would have fought for his place on that calendar. Marcus only checked his watch and saved another note. I decided the next lesson would have to be public enough that even he could not reduce it to a scheduling error. After the picnic, I began recording more of our family life without Marcus. To be fair, he was rarely interested in being on camera anyway. If I asked him to join a breakfast video, He said the children needed to eat before school instead of repeating the same smile for 3 takes. When I filmed homework, he complained that the lights distracted Lily. He always found a practical reason to stand outside the frame. I stopped asking. The videos showed me packing lunches, fixing Lily's hair, and helping Evan find his soccer shoes. Sometimes Marcus appeared behind me, carrying a laundry basket or checking the family calendar. I cropped those moments because they ruined the warm look the brands wanted. A father moving through the background with a tired face did not create engagement. A mother handling everything alone did. My audience began calling me a supermom. I did not correct them. Rafael Ortiz entered our lives through Evan's soccer team. He was 41, divorced, and more comfortable around children than most adults I knew. He ran across the field during practice, remembered every player's favorite position, and praised them loudly enough for the parents to hear. His son appeared in nearly all his coaching videos. They looked like best friends. Marcus drove Evan to every weekday practice, but he normally stayed in the car answering work messages until the session ended. Raphael noticed me filming from the sidelines and asked whether I created family content professionally. I told him I did. He said parents needed more honest videos showing how much work raising children required. That sentence made me like him immediately. During the next practice, Raphael helped Evan correct his stance and celebrated when he finally made a clean pass. I filmed the whole thing. Marcus arrived near the end with Lily's school project in the back seat because he had taken her to buy supplies. He asked whether Evan had practiced well. I said Raphael had spent more time encouraging our son in 1 hour than Marcus had all week. Marcus checked the time on his watch and typed 1 line into his phone. I assumed he was recording another excuse about where he had been. He asked why I had compared him to a coach whose job was to stand on the field. I told him fatherhood did not end when another man was being paid to care. Raphael heard part of the exchange but looked away. His silence felt like agreement. At the next parent meeting, the school asked for more volunteers. I joked that Marcus would not recognize the volunteer table because he had never used it. 2 mothers laughed. Mrs. Chen, the school administrator, did not. She opened a folder and later handed Marcus a copy of the original volunteer schedule. His name appeared beside 4 events. He had helped set up the book fair, supervised a science trip, repaired shelves in the reading room, and worked at the winter fundraiser. I had attended 2 of those events, but I remembered the photographs more clearly than the work. Marcus asked Mrs. Chen for another copy with the dates visible. I assumed he wanted proof because quiet work meant nothing unless someone finally praised him. That evening, he placed the schedule beside the magnetic calendar. He asked about one specific thing. Lily had told him that I said he missed her school play because work mattered more than she did. Marcus wanted to know why I left out the corrected email I never sent. I told him the reason did not change the empty chair Lily saw from the stage. He said the reason mattered when a child was deciding whom to blame. I answered that he cared more about clearing his name than understanding her pain. Marcus looked toward Lily's reading corner. Then he checked his watch and saved another note. His calm made me angrier than an argument would have. Tessa visited the next afternoon and watched me edit a breakfast video. She suggested a new series comparing fun parents with boring parents. I called it a joke and a wake-up call. We filmed Evan saying that I made pancakes while Marcus made rules. He laughed and repeated the line until the timing sounded natural. Lily stood beside him but refused to call her father the homework police. I told her she did not need to protect his feelings. She said he helped her study for every test. Tessa became quiet for a moment, so I changed the line. Lily only had to say that Marcus cared more about correct answers than happy children. She finally repeated it. The video performed better than anything I had posted that month. Comments praised me for surviving an emotionally absent husband. Marcus watched the first 10 seconds, checked the time, and placed his phone face down. He asked whether the children had chosen those words. I said they had expressed what they already felt. He asked why Lily looked toward me before speaking. I called that another attempt to silence an uncomfortable truth. Marcus left the room without answering. Evan asked whether we could make another video about boring dads. I told him we would. The children were finally beginning to see their father without the excuses I had spent years making for him. The soccer award ceremony was held on a Saturday afternoon under a white tent beside the field. Parents stood near folding tables covered with paper cups and team photographs. Raphael had arranged a large screen to replay the best moments of the season, and Evan had spent the entire morning talking about his winning goal. Marcus arrived early, carried 2 boxes of equipment from Raphael's car, and helped Evan tie one loose shoe before warm-ups. None of that appeared in the short video Raphael played for the crowd. The clip began seconds before the goal. Evan received the ball, ran past another player, and scored. Parents cheered again, as if the game were happening live. Raphael appeared near the edge of the screen with both arms raised. Marcus was not visible. I looked toward him and saw him standing near the back of the tent. To be fair, he had attended the game, but being somewhere and being present were different things. When Raphael handed Evan a small medal, I told the parents that Marcus had somehow missed the most important moment of the entire season, even though he had been standing beside the field. Several people laughed. Marcus checked the time on his watch and typed one line into his phone. I knew the routine by then. Another date. Another excuse. Evan looked at Raphael and said he had celebrated louder than his real father. The words were not planned, but the parents heard them. Raphael smiled at first, then looked toward Marcus. I could have corrected Evan. Instead, I said children noticed who showed excitement and who only arrived with a schedule. Tessa stood beside me holding my phone. She whispered that the moment would be perfect for a short video. I asked Raphael to stand beside Evan while I placed a paper medal around his neck. The medal had "Fune Dad" written across the front in blue marker. Raphael laughed and said it was only a joke. That made it safe. I told the crowd that every team needed one father who knew how to make children feel important. The applause was uneven. One couple near the drinks table collected their bags and left before the next award. Marcus did not approach me. He walked to Raphael and asked whether the full live stream from the game still existed. Raphael said it did. Marcus asked him to save the original recording, not only the edited goal clip. His voice remained calm. I assumed he wanted to search through the video for a few seconds, showing that he had been present. It was exactly like him to turn a child's proud moment into a question of evidence. Raphael agreed, although his expression had lost its easy confidence. On the drive home, Marcus waited until the children went inside before speaking. He asked why I had allowed Evan to call Raphael his real father in front of the team. I said Evan had described how he felt. Marcus said a 9-year-old had repeated the language used in our videos. I told him he was blaming me because he could not accept that another man had formed a stronger connection with his son. Marcus asked whether I truly believed a coach celebrating one goal replaced years of fatherhood. I answered that years did not matter if the children remembered feeling alone. He checked the time again. I told him to stop recording every conversation as if our family were one of his compliance reports. Marcus said he wrote things down because the same events sounded different each time I described them. I heard an accusation from a man unwilling to face his own failure. That evening, I edited the soccer ceremony into a short family video. I used Evan's goal, Raphael's reaction, and the paper medal. Marcus appeared only once in the background, looking down at his phone. I cut the part where he carried the equipment. I also cut the moment when Raphael told him that Evan had become nervous before the game and Marcus had calmed him down. Those details weakened the message. The video was about emotional presence. My followers understood it immediately. The next morning, I filmed our magnetic family calendar for a sponsored organization post. Marcus's initials covered half the month. They appeared beside soccer practice, Lily's school meeting, 2 medical appointments, and a reading event. The calendar looked crowded on camera, so I removed several magnets and replaced his initials with simple colored dots. Lily entered while I was filming and asked why her father's name had disappeared. I told her transportation and payments were not the same as emotional involvement. She said Marcus had stayed with her for 2 hours while she practiced a speech. I answered that one good evening did not repair a pattern. Lily stopped talking and returned the marker to the counter. Later, Marcus asked why the calendar in my video no longer matched the one he used. I said the post needed a cleaner design. He asked whether a cleaner design always required removing him. The question was too emotional for his usual style, so I dismissed it as self-pity. I told him the children cared about memories, not initials. Marcus said memories could be edited too. He did not raise his voice. That quiet debrief irritated me more than anger. Tessa watched the final soccer video at my studio but did not celebrate the views. She asked whether Evan understood how the fun dad joke would sound to Marcus. I told her Marcus needed discomfort before he would change. She said the children were beginning to carry the conflict for us. I called that dramatic. Still, her hesitation gave me a better idea. If a paper medal had made Marcus ask questions, a real award presented by his own children would force him to listen. His birthday was 6 weeks away. I began searching for the perfect trophy that same night. Naomi came to our house after seeing the Fun Dad video. She was Marcus's older sister and normally avoided our arguments, but that afternoon she stood beside the magnetic family calendar and asked why I kept presenting her brother as absent when his initials covered half the month. To be fair, Naomi had always defended Marcus because they handled emotions the same way. Both of them believed a completed task should count as affection. I told her children did not remember insurance forms or repaired bicycles. They remembered who made them laugh and who made them feel wanted. Naomi said Marcus had built Lily's reading corner, attended Evan's practices, and stayed awake during every fever. I answered that love should not need a list to become visible. Marcus entered while we were speaking. He saw Naomi beside the calendar and asked whether I had shown her the edited version from my organization video. I said the calendar looked cleaner without so many initials. He checked the time on his watch and wrote one line in his phone. Naomi watched him do it but said nothing. Marcus then named the pattern. He mentioned Lily's play, the school picnic, the volunteer schedule, the soccer ceremony, and the changed calendar. He asked why every mistake became proof that he was a bad father, while everything he did correctly disappeared from my version. His voice was quiet. There was real sadness in it, but I heard self-pity. I told him children could not build a relationship from corrected dates. Marcus said they also could not build one from stories that changed after each argument. I accused him of caring more about records than the children's feelings. He looked toward Lily's reading corner and said he had spent years believing stability was enough. He admitted that he often solved problems instead of asking what the children needed emotionally. That was the closest he had come to agreeing with me. I could have stopped there. Instead, I decided his birthday could become a family reset. I sat beside him and changed my tone. I said the party would include joke awards for everyone. The children would give him something funny. I would receive an award too, and the whole family could laugh before starting fresh. Marcus asked what award I had ordered for myself. I said it was still being designed. That was not true. Only one trophy existed. The next day, Tessa came with me to the party supply store. The trophy was cheap, gold plastic with a black base. Across the front, the engraving read "World's Worst Father." Evan laughed when he saw it. Lily did not. She asked whether the words were too mean. I told her fathers should be able to laugh at themselves. Evan asked whether Marcus would become angry. I said his lack of emotion was the joke. Tessa looked at Lily and suggested changing the words to "most serious dad." I refused. A softer trophy would not create the wake-up call Marcus needed. At home, I began rehearsing the children's speech. Evan had to say Marcus always chose work. Lily had to say he attended events without truly being present. Lily reminded me that Marcus helped her practice her school speech for 2 hours. I told her one good evening did not erase years of distance. She repeated the line more quietly the second time. That night, I found Marcus's phone open beside the calendar. A dated list filled the screen. School play, picnic, volunteer meeting, soccer ceremony. Each event had a time beside it and a short note. For several seconds, the list did not look like excuses. It looked organized, patient, deliberate. Then I remembered how Marcus handled every disagreement. He collected facts so he would never have to admit he had hurt someone. I closed the phone and returned it to the counter. Naomi offered to manage the projector at the birthday party. She said she could connect it to our family cloud and prepare the photographs. I accepted because she understood the equipment and would save me money. Marcus asked that the projector remain connected to the cloud during the entire party. I assumed he wanted to play one of his slow family videos after the trophy joke. Our social circle had already begun shifting. One school mother stopped replying to my messages. Tessa took a full day to answer questions about the birthday speech. Raphael agreed to attend, but asked me not to introduce him as Evan's better father. I told myself people were becoming nervous because the joke was honest. Marcus stopped arguing about the party. He checked his watch whenever I mentioned it and added another note. His silence looked like acceptance. I ordered a bright red gift box for the trophy and told the children to keep it hidden. By the end of his birthday, Marcus would finally hear what his family thought of him without being able to correct the story. Marcus's birthday party filled the community hall before 6. The projector showed family photographs above a long table covered with blue paper plates and cinnamon cake. Most of the pictures had been selected by me. Marcus appeared in a few, usually standing near the edge while the children faced the camera with me. To be fair, that was how our family had always looked from the outside. I created the memories. Marcus handled the details nobody photographed. Naomi stood near the projector with a laptop connected to our family cloud. Raphael arrived with his son but asked again not to be introduced as a better father. I told him the party was only a joke. Tessa checked the red trophy box, then asked whether Lily still wanted to read her part. I said children often became nervous before speaking, honestly. Marcus entered wearing the navy shirt Lily had chosen. He thanked everyone, hugged the children, and checked his watch when Naomi told him the projector was ready. One glance. One short note in his phone. I interpreted it as another attempt to control a family moment through timing. Dinner passed without conflict. Marcus helped Evan cut his food and listened while Lily described a school project. He answered carefully, but he did not ask how she felt about presenting it. That was his problem. He could be present and still leave the emotional work unfinished. When the cake arrived, I took the microphone. I told the guests that Marcus was dependable, responsible, and almost impossible to enjoy. Several people laughed. Marcus remained seated beneath the screen. I described how he remembered every appointment but rarely knew what made the children excited. I said he could repair a bicycle without noticing that the child riding it wanted praise. That accusation was true. Marcus had spent years completing the duties of fatherhood while treating emotion like an extra task he could postpone. He did not deny it. His fingers rested around his glass. I continued because his silence gave me the room. I showed a photograph from Lily's school play with an empty chair beside me. Then I showed the soccer clip where Raphael celebrated Evan's goal. The guests reacted more quietly than my online audience had. One of Marcus's co-workers lowered his eyes. Mrs. Chen sat with both hands folded in her lap. Before the children came forward, Marcus asked to speak with me near the hallway. His voice stayed low. He said the roast had already made my point and asked me to cancel the children's part. He said Lily looked frightened and Evan did not understand what the trophy meant. This was his final offer. I told him stopping them would prove that he could not accept their feelings. Marcus said they were carrying words written by adults. I answered that he only called their feelings borrowed because they hurt him. He asked whether I wanted the children to remember his birthday or the moment they were ordered to judge their father. I said they would remember finally being heard. Marcus looked at me for several seconds. Then he said he would handle the rest properly. He returned to his chair and asked Naomi to keep the projector connected. I heard surrender. Tessa brought the children to the side of the stage. Evan held the red box with both hands. Lily carried the speech card. When I introduced the Special Family Award, a few guests clapped. Evan opened the box and laughed at the gold trophy. He read his line about Marcus always choosing work. The words came out easily because he had practiced them many times. Lily stepped toward the microphone. She looked at Marcus, then at me. I smiled and nodded. She said her father attended events without truly being present. Her voice weakened near the end. Marcus did not interrupt. He checked his watch and stated the time quietly before typing one final note. The hall became still. I placed my hand against Lily's back and encouraged her to finish. She said that was why he deserved the worst father trophy. Evan lifted it toward Marcus. Some guests laughed, but the sound ended quickly. Marcus accepted the trophy with both hands. He thanked the children and asked them to sit beside Naomi. I told the room that sometimes the truth needed to hurt before a man decided to change. Marcus looked up at the screen. I reached toward Tessa's chair, expecting her to begin the next part of the presentation. The chair was empty. Her bag was gone. I assumed she had stepped outside because the moment had become more emotional than planned. Raphael remained near the back wall without smiling. Naomi kept one hand on the laptop. Marcus sat beneath the projector holding the trophy, calm enough to look defeated. I believed the children had finally said what I had spent years helping them understand. I believed every guest now saw Marcus as the father I had described. I believed the party belonged to me. Marcus remained seated beneath the projector with the gold trophy resting across his knees. The cinnamon frosting smelled too sweet in the warm hall, and nobody reached for the cake. He looked at his watch again. Then he stated the exact time and smiled. It was not embarrassment. It was confirmation. Marcus asked Naomi to open the first folder in the family cloud. The photograph behind him disappeared, replaced by two versions of our magnetic calendar. Mine showed colored dots and empty spaces. The original showed Marcus's initials beside school meetings, doctor visits, soccer practices, and reading events. I placed my hand on the trophy box to steady it. Marcus said every time I removed his name, he recorded the date. Naomi opened the school play email next. The corrected performance time had been sent to me hours before Marcus asked for confirmation. Beside it appeared a message I had sent Tessa saying that Marcus missing the play might finally stop Lily from defending him. Lily turned toward me. I said the message was frustration, not a plan. Mrs. Chen asked why I had told Lily that Marcus chose work when I had never forwarded the time. My answer became an explanation about emotional absence. It did not reach anyone. The picnic record appeared next. Marcus had arrived late because the school nurse called him about Evan's medication. Then came the volunteer schedule showing 4 events beside his name. Mrs. Chen confirmed each one. The screen changed again. The full soccer live stream began before Evan's goal. Marcus carried equipment, helped Evan tie his shoe, and stood beside the field until another child was injured. The short clip I used had removed all of it. Raphael walked to the display table, picked up the paper Fun Dad medal, and placed it beside the trophy. He asked me to delete every post that presented him as a replacement for Marcus. Then he crossed the room and stood near Marcus. Naomi opened the original family videos. Marcus appeared behind the camera preparing breakfast. He repaired Lily's project after midnight. He sat beside Evan during a fever. In one video, his hand entered the frame to pass me the decorations while I told my followers I had prepared the party alone. I had cropped him because the Lonely Mother version performed better. My own editing notes appeared beside each file. Remove Marcus from background. Keep empty chair visible. Use sad caption. The room stayed silent. Then Naomi opened my messages to Tessa. I had written that practical parenting did not count if the children never found it exciting. Another message said the children needed to laugh at Marcus until he understood that nobody respected a weak father. The final message contained the trophy speech. Every word Lily and Evan had said was there before they had ever seen it. Marcus asked Lily whether she had written any part herself. She shook her head. Evan looked at the floor. I told them I had only helped express feelings they were afraid to say. Mrs. Chen asked one simple question. She wanted to know which words had belonged to the children before I gave them the script. Neither child answered. Marcus stood and placed the trophy on the floor between us. He admitted that I had been right about one thing. He had spent years completing tasks without giving the children enough warmth. He solved problems instead of asking what hurt. He recorded details because facts were safer than feelings. That same coldness had helped create the distance I used against him. Then he said the children would not be asked to choose between their parents again. I looked toward Tessa's chair. It was still empty. Naomi said she had left through the side door after hearing Lily rehearse. Marcus stated that a divorce petition had been filed and a temporary parenting schedule would be reviewed the following week. I moved into a rented 2-bedroom apartment while Marcus remained in the family home. 2 family brands ended their contracts after guests shared the unedited birthday recording with their managers. Tessa ended our professional partnership, and several school parents stopped answering my invitations. Raphael removed me from his parenting campaign and posted one correction confirming that Marcus had attended the full soccer season. My channel remained online, but every new family video received the same question about whether the children had chosen their own words. 10 days later, Lily and Evan helped me carry boxes into the apartment. The magnetic calendar hung on the wall without either parent's initials beneath the coming school events. I still believed Marcus should have loved us in ways we could feel instead of ways that could be proven by timestamps. But the screen had shown something I could no longer edit. I had wanted the children's voices to prove I understood them better. Instead, everyone heard how closely their voices matched mine. The worst father trophy stayed in its box because neither child would carry it into my new home.